Hey, I'm really excited to do this because I think a lot of us need to have this conversation. And the more practitioners that I talk to, the more that this is like expressed that we need to have a conversation like this. So I figured, let's have the conversation, okay? Let's have the conversation, an honest conversation. No makeup, no filter. My hair is like conditioned with aloe vera. It is just you and me, open and honest. As a practitioner, as a energy practitioner, especially, it becomes frustrating when people don't realize the value of the work that you do. Maybe because you make it seem effortless or you're able to teach very esoteric things in an easy manner. And people tend to disregard the decades that you've put into being able to teach something so easily. Or just the amount of impact learning these things have in your life, right? So if you work with me in a membership or one on one, I'm literally helping you to understand who it is that you are, also allowing you to give yourself permission to be who you are in that moment and to allow yourself to shift and change as needed for your experience in this life. You are also learning tools and techniques that make it easier to process the experiences and the energy that you have in your life so that you can show up as your best self. And that sounds really beautiful, right? But what does it mean? It means that for the past 15 years, I have been in the mud, right? Working through different techniques, reading hundreds of books, consistently studying and evolving my language and my teaching abilities. So that way, when we come in contact with each other, you have a teacher that is equipped in communication and making very disassociative information feel very intimate for you. You have someone who is dedicated to their craft and who wants to see you succeed in your life, who wants to be utilized as a tool in helping you live out your best life. And it becomes frustrating when you feel undervalued or you feel like people don't take what it is that you do seriously because it is not a traditional profession. Not everyone can do this. And you think that that would mean that practitioners are held with a bit more care and respect and awe. Unfortunately, that's not always the case, right? If you're not a direct tarot reader, which many practitioners read cards, by the way, like whether it's oracle or um, tarot, we all dabble in different modalities and not really dabble, like we're all very proficient in many different modalities, right? I am just as proficient in Reiki as I am in EFT, as I am in meditation, as I am in breath work, as I am in yoga, as I am in tarot, oracle reading, chakra reading, crystal reading. The list goes on and on and on, right? There are plenty of things that I am well trained in. And I think when we have so many different modalities and it's not just one particular thing, people tend to um, forget why they sought us out, why our relationship even began. And when you are really like in a rough place and someone's there to help you out of it, it's a beautiful feeling because you don't feel like you're alone, right? But then you start getting the hang of things and things start making more sense and you start needing that person less and less, which is really beautiful because you want to be able to manage these things on your own. You want to be able to um, navigate your life without having to ask somebody to hold your hand all the time. There are certain seasons for that. But then I think we forget, because many of us don't discuss what it takes to sustain momentum, that you have to continue practicing these things. And once you practice and master these set of tools, you then are up leveled to a new space where there are new things to master and learn. And you're going to probably need someone to just be there with you, to hold space, to allow you to explore who you are now in that new space. And I think that's what practitioners do, no matter what type of practitioner you are. Um, I don't know. I just find that not only am I being frustrated, but I find that other practitioners who really give of themselves, who really are dedicated to their work, who go above and beyond for their clients and their students and their communities, are feeling, underappreciated. And when practitioners start to feel underappreciated, it's not good for the collective, because if we are the conduits, if we are the ones receiving these divine insights, learning these tools and making them easier for y'all to learn, if you remove that from the equation, what can happen is that there's a lot of missed opportunities to understand what's happening cosmically, what divine insights are being channeled, or you get really overwhelmed because you don't have the skill set to process that amount of information. The amount of things that practitioners process, I don't even know, like, where to begin. The amount of things that I process on a daily basis would exhaust many people, because I'm not just receiving information or insights from the books that I read or the conversations that I have, but from the energy that's all around me, that's all around you, that's all around other people, being in consistent contact with all of that, all of the time, getting downloads when I want to rest, or having very vivid dreams that don't have anything to do with me, that have to do with like a client that I'm connected to, or, waking up with this whole lesson that I need to like write down immediately. It's wild. And we don't really talk about these nuances as practitioners. And, I'm not really sure why we don't. I don't know, maybe it's like my Scorpio placements for me personally. Like, I'm just a very private person. If you don't ask me, I'm not telling you. But if you ask me, I'll tell you. But it's just, I really hope that if you have a practitioner in your life, if I am the practitioner in your life, be respectful and kind to me when it comes to the time that we share. So if you say you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, be there. Or communicate with me, or communicate with your practitioner that you're not going to be there, because we also live lives. So, like, if I'm not having that session or not having that class, I'm completely fine with it. We'll figure out another time to make it work. But finding out the moment that it's supposed to happen is infuriating, because I could have done something different. I could have went to sleep earlier. I could have spent time with a loved one that I may have postponed to teach that class or to hold that session. And I know we can't always give our best communication, because sometimes things just happen in life. But I think we can sense when our time is not being valued, and when people just kind of think you're always going to be there, because you kind of always are there, right? You're there when they need you. Um, and that's like a double-edged sword, because then it's like, well, do I pull back? Because that's not within my nature to pull back. But I also don't want it to seem like I just am here 24/7 when I actually am living a life, as a practitioner, as my profession, but also personally, I'm living a life as a highly sensitive person, as an empath that feels so many feelings all the time, that's navigating their own dynamics and relationships. to the information that they teach, and just to the life experiences that they have. I just think it's so important that we remember that your practitioner is human and probably has a shit ton of things happening in their lives. And they somehow are able to cultivate space to hold and nourish you, to give you space where you can feel bold enough and brave enough to explore what you're feeling without judgment or criticism. And they even offer tools and techniques to help you navigate that experience. I don't think that that should go unnoticed, and it shouldn't be taken for granted, because I think we're entering a new wave. And if practitioners are not going to feel valued as the sacred divine tools that we are, I think we're just going to keep our practices to ourselves as opposed to sharing it. I'm talking about the real practitioners, not the ones that like make really cute content just for the sake of making content, but those that are literally up during divine hours, those that sit and pray at their ancestral altars, those that sit and listen to the trees and the breezes, those that sit in their shadow work and work through it so that they can show you that not only can you get through it, but you don't got to go through it by yourself like they did, right? And I would hate to see that happen. But I also understand why a lot of practitioners do. They go into their secret caves and they don't return, because honestly it feels a lot better there than it does being out and being so open with so many people. And in today's digital age, we have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Geneva, TikTok. There's so many ways for us to communicate with all of you. It's overwhelming. And when you find that core, people that really see you and love and value you, it makes you feel like the work you're doing is providing healing, providing whatever it is that your community needs, because you love your community so much and you want to see them thrive. And you don't want to see them go through the same hardships that you had to endure to get the insights or wisdom or skills that you have. You want to see them live an easier life. And it becomes very frustrating when the first thing that happens in their life and that they want to, you know, disassociate because they think that the things in the other areas of their lives hold more value. And they're not saying that to be like malicious. That's just really how they feel. But they don't realize that all those other things you were able to materialize in those other areas of your life probably had some type of influence from the work that you've done with your practitioner. Whether it's that we helped you gain clarity so that you knew who you wanted to be with, or where you wanted to work, or what your purpose was, or if we helped you to give yourself permission to be who you are, to not care how other people think and feel, or if we just gave validation to what you were experiencing and were able to give you language to that, you feeling these things and us being able to say, well, that makes sense. We're going into spring equinox and, the sun is here and the moon is here. And what you're feeling makes complete and total sense. That gives you validation from you thinking, am I losing my shit because I'm feeling so much? And having someone say, you're not losing your mind. You're just tapped in on a different frequency. And I really hoped, I really hope that these things are cherishable and that You choose to give your practitioner just more appreciation if you can, if you have it within you to give, because we are often navigating a lot and we shouldn't have to share our ups and our downs to remind our clients and our communities that we are human. And you shouldn't expect that of us. You should be able to remember that you're speaking with a human being, no matter how divinely aligned we might be, no matter how tapped in we might be, your practitioner is still human. And we feel feelings deeper than most. So if you aren't able to respect our art, then at least give us the courtesy to let us know, right? Um, yeah, I feel like that's everything that I need to say in this video. And, hopefully it resonates with somebody and they treat their practitioner better. If you're a practitioner and you're feeling how I'm feeling, a little taken for granted, a little underappreciated, and not to say that I need like roses thrown at my feet, even though that would be nice, just communication, letting us know if what we're doing, our dynamic, if it's still nourishing to you, if it scares you and there's resistance coming up, or, just talk to us. Don't disappear or show up half assed because we are never showing up half assed, no matter how badly we want to. And sometimes it'd just be so much more easier to not give 100%. But then I wouldn't be able to sit with myself later on knowing that I did not show up as my best self for my community, which I love to no end. So